Hello, I'm Super Orange Ken. I just watched the second episode of Fully Cooley Shoegaze on Adult Swim slash Toonami, and I've got some of my thoughts about it. I'm going to say the things I liked about this episode, some of the things I didn't like about this episode, and then type of big old bow in the end. So one thing I liked was basically how a lot of it was a continuation kind of the plot of Fully Cooley Alternative. At the end of Fully Cooley Alternative, you have Kana activate her NO, Pets goes off, fucks off to another planet, and then she and her other two friends start to slowly separate apart. As you see, definitely in this episode where she's no longer for friends anymore, and she starts to contemplate the decision she made 10 years prior at the end of Fully Cool Alternative, and the decisions that she has made since then, including joining the secret organization that the older man's a part of, her decisions, her role in that organization, and also tie that into the old man. I can't remember his name, where he talks about his regrets in not being a baseball star, but seeing all his friends become baseball stars, and how that ties up with the end result of Kana. And I really thought this was something really interesting in a way, and I kind of like the direction they went with that. And outside of that, I'm going to kind of go into things I didn't like about this episode. First thing I thought of was specifically in the scene where you get this activation, and all of a sudden you have this imaginary time being activated and stuff. The first thought I had was, this is just like a really crappily done version of the ending of Fena Pirate Princess. Fena Pirate Princess's ending, the main characters go to this place called Eden, and as much as people really hated that ending, I kind of liked it because I understand what they were going for. I understood the symbolism of what they were trying to do with that. Here, it just feels so cynical. It's like, oh, he's an imaginary space now. Like, it just feels like something I would, like, I'm an aspiring writer. It feels like something I would write as a joke. Like, not as like a, oh, tongue in cheek, this is serious, but we're being jokey. I mean, like, if I'm trying to create the worst thing possible, that's something I would write about. And it feels like it's trying to be layers and layers of intellectualism upon itself. But in the end here, what you get is a lot of stuff that just kind of spins the wheels and goes nowhere. Really, and here's my guide for when this is a good episode to when this is a bad episode. When Kana's on screen, it's generally enjoyable and likable, and it really goes into a place. And that's the thing with the first 4 or 5 editions of Fully Cool at this point. First 4 editions is that it talks about coming to adulthood, getting to adulthood. But this episode, you talk about Kana living through adulthood, her regretting the decisions she's made in early adulthood, and her living the past, seeing all these girls that kind of look like her, kind of look like her friends growing up, and her just kind of coming to terms with the decisions she made. And that the realization she screams about at the end of this episode, I thought was really good. But then you put this decent, good continuations plot line with this other stuff about these two characters I don't care much about. You get this main male character who might be the least enjoyable main character of all the editions of Fully Cooley to this point. Even less enjoyable than Hitami from Fully Cooley Progressive. And then you have this Haruko knockoff, which we already saw like a base fall to the ground, so you know that she's some type of alien, probably the same species of alien as Haruko, but she's sides with metal. This one sides with medical mechanica. She's so super nihilistic. It's and they're trying to play off like, oh, she's this cool nihilistic, nothing matters character. That's such an overplayed trope in American media to this point. I mean, Adult Swim's biggest cash cow, Rick and Morty, is just nihilism, the show. And people here have gotten completely tired of it. That's why Rick and Morty's ratings are falling through the ground. No one even knows that there's another season coming up soon because no one cares anymore, because that's what the show was. It's just nihilism, nihilism, nihilism. And here, whenever Haruhi speaks, I just roll my eyes because it's the same darn tropes over and over again. And then you have the ending where, like, oh, he inactivated the NO tower. Like, the old man wanted, basically, the old man's thing is that he wants this tower activated. And he thought, oh, Kana, since she had this NO moment, she'll have the energy to trigger it. But she never was able to muster it. But all of a sudden, you get this young teenage boy who just, like nothing, is able to do it. And he's like, oh, if we shoot his pseudo girlfriend, then that'll, like, emotionally send him into a NO rage and we'll have the energy we need. which they do at the end of this episode. She gets shot in the head at the end of the episode here. And it looks like the last episode, from the little bits of the episode, the little trailer I looked at while actually talking to you guys, is the fact that it looks like, oh, the green monsters and stuff that he sees, they're going to be all over town and the world now. Everyone's going to poop their pants. Everyone everyone is going to have their skin opened up by demons, salt poured inside, and they get kicked in a pit of lava. Don't do that. You'll all go to hell. Okay, that's just, I don't know why I referenced that meme, but, anyways, it'll be interesting to see the ending. I'll actually say this episode was a bit better than the first. Although the whole Nile, at least Haruhi got shot in the head of this one. She's probably going to end up coming back to life for some dumb shit, or, well, we already know Haruko is not going to be in this one, because I looked at the cast list, but ultimately it's just like, you're just going to get this. But like I said, second episode, a good step better. I especially loved the Kana stuff. Kana is, of the sequels, she is by a good margin my favorite main character. She was the most likable and relatable, I think, of the four to this point. And I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. I'm feeling generous today, I guess. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments, leave your pins down below. I'm Super Orange Cat, and that is all.